Hello, everyone. In today's lesson, we'll be learning two new identities, how to apply them, and how to use them to prove or verify other identities. In this lesson, you'll find the reference sheet, Trigonometric Identities Part 2, which you will fill out throughout the next few lessons. If you haven't printed it out yet, pause the video to do that now. You should also have your previous reference sheet, Trigonometric Identities Part 1, and your unit circle with you, as we will need them for this lesson. Furthermore, at the start of your lesson, you had the pre-video activity, Cosine of a difference. If you haven't had a chance to work on it yet, pause the video to do that now. Now, let's work it out together. The pre-video activity showed us these two diagrams of the same unit circle, and we had to answer these 4 questions. This activity will eventually lead us to the proof of a new identity called cosine of a difference, which will then allow us to find several other identities throughout the next few lessons. Let's look at the first question of the pre-video activity. What is the relationship between triangles AOB and A'OB'? Triangle AOB is the triangle whose vertices are points A, O, and B in the first diagram. Triangle A'OB' is the triangle whose vertices are points A', O, and B' in the second diagram. How are these triangles related? Well, I notice both of these triangles have 2 sides that are radii of the circle, which we know is a unit circle. So these pairs of sides are all 1 unit long. Furthermore, look at the angle in between these radii. In the second diagram, we see the measure of angle A'OB' is alpha minus beta. But what about angle AOB in the first diagram? Isn't it just the difference between the large angle alpha and the small angle beta? Yes, this angle also measures alpha minus beta. These 2 triangles seem to have a lot of things in common. Could they be congruent? Yes. In fact, we can prove they are using the congruence criterion, SAS, or side angle side, that you learned back in geometry, which says that 2 triangles are congruent if any pair of sides and the angle in between are congruent, which is exactly what we have here. Another way of seeing this is noticing that we can get from the first diagram to the second by rotating triangle AOB clockwise around O by the measure of angle beta. We are therefore convinced these 2 triangles are congruent. Let's move on to the second question. Now let's write an expression for AB using the distance formula. We are given that the coordinates of point A are cosine of alpha, sine of alpha, and that the coordinates of point B are cosine of beta, sine of beta. This makes sense because these points are on a unit circle. And remember that by definition, the x and y coordinates of points on the unit circle are the cosine and sine of the corresponding central angles, which in this case are alpha and beta. Using these coordinates and the distance formula, AB becomes the square root of cosine of alpha minus cosine of beta squared plus sine of alpha minus sine of beta squared. Similarly, the third question asks us to write an expression for A'B' using the distance formula. Using the coordinates of A' and B' given in the diagram, A'B' becomes the square root of cosine of alpha minus beta minus 1 squared plus sine of alpha minus beta minus 0 squared. However, we can omit the 0 and just write sine squared of alpha minus beta. Lastly, what must be true about these two distances? Segments AB and A'B' are corresponding sides of triangles AOB and A'OB', which we already established are congruent. This means sides AB and A'B' must be congruent, so AB equals A'B'. Let's start putting together the information we have. We have expressions for both AB and A'B', and we figured out these distances are actually equal to each other. We can therefore set these two expressions equal to each other. Our goal will be now to simplify this equation until we get a formula for cosine of alpha minus beta, or the cosine of a difference. And squaring both sides of this equation cancels both of these square roots at once. Now let's do some expanding to see where this equation leads us. Using the distributive property or the perfect square identity, expand these three squares. Pause the video and try it out now. Expanding the squares, we get this very long equation. However, let's see if there's anything we can simplify. Analyze the equation and see if any of the trigonometric identities you've learned in previous lessons could come in handy. I notice we have the cosine squared of alpha and also the sine squared of alpha. This reminds me of Pythagorean identities, particularly the identity sine squared of theta plus cosine squared of theta equals 1. Furthermore, notice how we also have cosine squared and sine squared of beta, and of alpha minus beta. According to the Pythagorean identity, we can replace all these pairs with 1s. What else could we simplify here? We have exactly 2 1s on both sides, which we can cancel out. Finally, remember our goal is to find a formula for cosine of a difference, which is right here. To isolate it, we can divide both sides by -2, and let's switch the sides to have cosine of alpha minus beta on the left. Ta-da! We call this the cosine of a difference identity. Record this identity in this slot of your reference sheet. Pause the video to do so now. Let's apply this identity in our first example. Let's verify the identity cosine of pi minus theta equals minus cosine of theta. How could we use our new identity in this problem? On the left side, we have cosine of a difference. If we use pi as our alpha and theta as our beta, then we can use the identity to rewrite cosine of pi minus theta as cosine of pi times cosine of theta plus sine of pi times sine theta. Using our unit circle, we can evaluate cosine and sine of pi, which equal -1 and 0 respectively. 0 times sine of theta cancels out, and -1 times cosine theta gives minus cosine of theta, exactly what we wanted. Identity verified. Using the cosine of a difference identity, we can figure out the identity for cosine of a sum. How do you think we could go about this? Here's a hint. Remember, we can see addition as subtracting a negative. So we can see cosine of alpha plus beta as cosine of the difference alpha minus negative beta, which we can find using the cosine of a difference identity. Keeping alpha as alpha, but replacing beta with negative beta. Pause the video and try doing this on your own. Apply the identity using alpha and negative beta. We get cosine of alpha times cosine of negative beta plus sine of alpha times sine of negative beta. We can now do some simplifying. Do these expressions remind you of any identities you've previously seen in this unit? Cosine and sine of negative beta remind me of the even-odd identities. cosine of negative beta equals cosine of beta, and sine of negative beta equals negative sine of beta. Finally, sine of alpha times negative sine of beta can be written as just minus sine of alpha times sine of beta. Notice how the only difference between the cosine of a difference and cosine of a sum identities is the sign in the middle. For cosine of a difference, we get a sum of terms, and for cosine of a sum, we get a difference. Record this new identity in this slot of your reference sheet. Pause the video to do so now. Let's apply this identity in another example. This time, we'll use our new identities to find the exact value of cosine of 75 degrees. Notice we can't approximate with a calculator because we're being asked for the exact value. So we must rely on the special angles on our unit circle for which we know the exact coordinates. Is 75 degrees one of our special angles? Between 0 and 90 degrees, we only have 30, 45, and 60. There's no 75. What do we do then? Our new identities allow us to find the cosine of a sum or difference of angles if we know the sine and the cosine of the angles being added or subtracted. Therefore, if we can write 75 as a sum or difference of special angles, we can use these identities to find the cosine value. What special angles on our unit circle either add or subtract to 75 degrees? What about 30 and 45? Since we know the sine and the cosine of both 30 and 45 degrees, this combination will work. Cosine of 75 degrees equals cosine of 45 degrees plus 30 degrees, which we can evaluate using cosine of a sum. Pause the video and apply the identity on your own. Applying the identity, we get cosine of 45 degrees times cosine of 30 degrees minus sine of 45 degrees times sine of 30 degrees. We can evaluate all these with the unit circle, and when simplifying the results, we end up with square root of 6 minus square root of 2 all over 4. Would this be the only combination that works? Let's look for a different one to see what happens. Maybe we can now look for two special angles that subtract to 75. What could these be? An option would be 120 and 45, since 120 minus 45 is 75. Evaluate cosine of 75 degrees now using this combination, and let's see if we get the same answer. Pause the video and try it out now. Using the cosine of a difference identity, we get the exact same answer of square root of 6 minus square root of 2 over 4. Let's look at a third example, one where the angle is in radians. We'll evaluate cosine of negative 13 pi over 12. How do you think we can approach this one? First, what identity could help us address the negative sign? Since cosine is an even function, this expression will be equal to the cosine of positive 13 pi over 12. Is this one of our special angles? No, so let's check if it's the sum or difference of a pair of our special angles. However, it's not as comfortable to find angles that add or subtract to 13 pi over 12 using radians as it would be using degrees, so let's convert this angle to degrees. Remember, we can do this by multiplying 13 pi over 12 by 180 degrees, which results in 195 degrees. Therefore, our goal is now to find a combination of special angles that add or subtract to 195 degrees, so that we can evaluate the expression with the cosine of a sum or cosine of a difference identity. Pause the video now and evaluate cosine of 195 degrees on your own. Remember, there's more than one combination that could work. A simple combination would be 150 degrees and 45 degrees, applying the cosine of a sum identity. We get negative square root of 6 minus square root of 2 all over 4. Let's wrap up our lesson with one last example. We'll verify the identity 2 sine of theta times sine of pi over 3 minus theta minus 2 cosine theta times cosine of pi over 3 minus theta equals negative 1. Take a moment to analyze the identity. What do you notice? What do you wonder? We should definitely try to simplify the left side somehow. I notice there is a cosine of a difference here, which we could expand. However, I notice the entire left side has a pattern very close to the right side of the cosine sum and difference identities. This might be more apparent if we reorder the left side so that the cosines are first. Furthermore, we could factor out a negative 2 and we end up with the exact pattern of the cosine of a sum identity, with theta in the place of alpha and pi over 3 minus theta in the place of beta. Therefore, we can condense this expression by rewriting it as cosine of the sum theta plus pi over 3 minus theta, just like the left side of the identity. Notice how we can actually simplify this sum by canceling out the thetas, and we end up with just pi over 3 inside the cosine. Evaluating cosine of pi over 3, we get 1/2, and negative 2 times 1/2 is negative 1. Identity verified. Today, we learned 2 new identities, which you should have recorded in your reference sheet. The cosine of a difference identity and the cosine of a sum identity. We learned how to use these identities to verify other identities and to find the exact cosine value of the angles that are either the sum or difference of special angles. In our next lesson, we'll learn the sum and difference identities for sine and tangent. Once you've finished your guided notes, complete the additional practice. After that, make sure to complete the online practice. See you next time.
Hey, hey.